What was your earliest childhood memory?
Oh, when we lived in a different house. We lived on 5th Street, and it was like a 2-story old house, even old at the time. And I think I was like about 3 years old, and I got a tricycle. And I remember riding that tricycle. And from that house, I remember I got a baby chick on Easter. And it was we had a wood stove in the kitchen, and the baby chick was like in a little pen under the stove. And I got so excited, and the next morning the chicken was dead. And the other thing I remember is that I had a girl in the neighborhood who was, well, I was 3 and she was probably a teenager, and she would come over and play with me in the backyard. I had like my father put a great big canvas out in the backyard, and then I had my little furniture out there, and that was my little playhouse, and she would come and play with me.
That's a good idea. Mm-hmm. What was your father's personality like?
He was more outgoing than my mother. He was just he liked to joke around a lot, and that's pretty much it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So your mom was more.
She was quiet.
Reserved.
She was quite reserved. Yeah, just kind of quiet.
Did your father ever play games with you, or any games?
Yeah, my father and mother. Well, I think my mother. Now that I can't remember. I think my mother would play card games with me. I don't remember my father playing card games until I had my children, and then he loved to play canasta with the children. He and my mother played canasta.
Mm-hmm. So do you think that's why you like to play games with the boys?
Maybe. I probably do. Although I just think it's fun to play with the grandchildren. I think it's fun to play games with them, and I enjoy that.
Mm-hmm. They do too. What was your favorite toy when you were growing up?
My Didi doll.
What was that?
That was a big thing, like an American Girl doll is now, like the Didi doll. And you'd give her a little bottle of water, and she would wet. And she was rubber, and I had like a little bath in that, and I could bathe her, and it was a big deal. And my friend Patty Murphy, she also had a Didi doll, so we'd play Didi dolls together.
Did they have different color hair? And
no, she didn't have any hair.
They didn't have hair.
She was just rubber, and she had painted on hair.
So they weren't fancy like the dolls now. Do you remember when you were young, what was your favorite thing to do for fun?
Let's see.
Besides playing Didi dolls.
I like to play Red Rover. I love to play Red Rover. Mm-hmm. And baseball. We had a kind of a park out in the middle, just like you do. That's where we played baseball, but we didn't have all those plants, so there was just grass. And so one of the trios on one side would be first base, and then second base, third base, and the kids from all over the neighborhood would come to that spot, and we would all play baseball. Mm-hmm. And I like to play. I like card games. Mm-hmm. I like to ride my bike. So that's it.
Did you have any chores when you were young?
I had to do the dishes. I had to wipe dishes. I only wiped dishes. My mother would wash them. We didn't have dishwashers. So I would wipe dishes, and then I had to keep my room clean. And I hated doing that. So on Saturday, I would just throw things in my room. I'm not a good example to the grandchildren right now, but I would kind of just mess up the room until Saturday, and then I had to clean it out.
So was there any chore that you liked doing?
No.
Kind of like now. What was school like for you?
You mean was it hard? Or
Well, did you have any
fun?
subjects that you liked, or any
Oh,
subjects that you
okay.
didn't like?
Well, I wasn't very good in math. So when I went to the orthodontist, I always scheduled my appointments during math period. When I was in elementary school, one thing I always remember, and every time I see something like that, I think of second grade class. We would take leaves and put them on colored paper and spray them and make pictures. I loved doing that. That was so much fun.
Do you remember any special friends from elementary school?
I had, in my neighborhood, I had Beverly and Claire Shotwell, who lived across the street, and Patsy Mulligan, and let me think, who else? It was the third. That's pretty much it. That's all I can think. I played more with the kids in my neighborhood.
Than at school. Did you walk to school or ride the bus?
I walked to school. They didn't even have buses then. At least I didn't ever see one. I walked it was 6 blocks to school. Oh, and then on rainy days, my father drove me to school. He would take me. We only had one car, so he would take me to school before he went to work.
And then you had to walk home in the rain?
Yeah.
It was still raining?
There was no choice. Yeah, but I had a raincoat. Everybody in Washington has raincoats.
Did you have rain boots too?
Yeah, raincoats and rain boots.